Trump administration kicked off the president's first 100 days week by highlighting his effort to secure America's borders. And in fact, on the White House lawn, they displayed photos of the worst of the worst. These are criminals, illegal criminals, immigrants who have been arrested since President Trump returned to the office. And they announced that the president would be signing more executive orders today to further secure our borders. So with so much that's already been done by the administration to address the border, what does all this tell us about the claim of the previous administration that legislation was the only solution? Well, here to discuss this is Congressman Brad Knott, who serves on the House Homeland Security Committee, as well as the Judiciary Committee. He represents North Carolina's 13th Congressional District. Congressman Knott, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Okay, let's see. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt and the president's border czar, Tom Homan, they were looking at two executive orders that the president was scheduled to sign today. Can you take us down that road? What were these executive orders? What more is he looking to do on our borders?
It's a great question, and it's an important topic. I want to go back to where you led into the question ultimately with what's different, what's distinct between this administration, what this administration is doing with the previous administration. And the executive orders that we see today, they are in the same theme that President Trump has really been exercising the entire time he's been in office. All 100 days, he has been focused on making America more secure and making America more free. And you cannot have a secure country with an open border. And President Trump has worked very effectively from day one in streamlining processes, freeing up resources, pressuring our neighbors to the north, the south, and all over the world diplomatically to really make sure that our border is secure. And it's not a very radical proposal. All we're after is we want to know who you are and why you're here when you come into the country. And if you do come into the country, you must do so in accordance with our laws. The previous administration, as you alluded to, they did not only did they not enforce the laws, they worked very vigorously to deconstruct any legal enforcement. If you showed up on our border, you were going to get legal entry, you were going to be granted entry, whether or not you came through the, quote, legal process or the illegal process. And the harm that our country has faced is it's hard to quantify it. And the claim that Joe Biden made that it required new legislation was flatly untrue, and he knew it was untrue. He worked the entire time he was in office to welcome anybody who wanted to come to the country into the country, regardless of their legal versus illegal status. And President Trump has effectively stopped that effort.
Yeah, and he continues. I mean, now the big news last week where we were seeing going after sanctuary cities and all this kind of stuff. I mean, he's just been relentless to protect our borders, as you mentioned, as the previous administration did just the opposite. In fact, the Biden administration had claimed for years, really, that nothing can be done except legislatively. He spent 4 years blaming Congress for the immigration problems. And of course, today, and I'd like for you to respond to this, Homan and Leavitt both drilled the Biden administration and claimed that his purposeful open border policies were at stake here. So is the Biden administration now reaping what they've sowed, do you think?
Well, really the country has reaped what the Biden administration sowed, and that's the real tragedy. We've seen that, again, this was a purposeful construct from Biden. They not only welcomed people into the country here illegally, they signed them up for government entitlements. They placed them in politically sensitive environments. They shuttled them all over the country. You're still seeing that. We just saw it with Judge Duggan in Wisconsin. What did she do? She actively worked to protect an illegal immigrant criminal from apprehension by ICE while that criminal's victims were in her courtroom. What an astounding metaphor. You have a judge who is actively working to subvert the law at the expense of her state, of her country, and the victims that she should be concerned about, who are American citizens. And that's really
what should happen to these judges? Real quickly, what should happen to these judges?
When you do things like that, that is a clear violation of the law. Her arrest and apprehension were absolutely appropriate. She worked dishonestly to thwart ICE in their investigation and their apprehension. And then she took the next step at trying to assist the illegal immigrant in flight. She absolutely should have been charged. And of course, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. But if my account is correct, and what I've read is correct, she should be sentenced. It's absolutely outrageous what she did, and you cannot assist lawbreakers and claim to be loyal to the United States. Anyone who's here illegally should be reported.
Well said. All right, let me shift gears for you. Our time is slipping away here. Of course, Congress is reconvening. My understanding, Speaker Johnson has met or perhaps is still meeting with President Trump to discuss the budget reconciliation bill. What can you tell us at this point about the bill's progress? What do you anticipate happening?
Well, we are working in earnest. Again, the president is working to secure the country and to make the country more free. And he's hoping to do that immediately by reversing Joe Biden's policies and then permanently through legislation. That's where reconciliation comes in. We are working in earnest, trying to get this big, beautiful bill tight. We're trying to get it across the finish line, and all the committees that I'm in, Judiciary, Homeland, and Transportation, are marking up bills this week to include in the reconciliation package. And so we're hoping to get this bill across the finish line in the coming weeks. Memorial Day is the target. We're working towards that. But again, a lasting, free agenda, a secure agenda, one that benefits the country and her citizens rather than the world, is what we're after. And we're working very hard to achieve that.
And what's your take, real quickly, because I got one more question for you, with the Senate's role in this? What's going to happen on that side?
We have worked with the Senate. Leadership obviously has, and we have gotten very explicit agreement that more liberty, more security, spending cuts, et cetera, are top of their list too. So we expect them to follow the president's lead and to follow the House lead as we move through reconciliation.
Wow, great to hear that. We're going to be keeping a pulse on it and pushing and praying forward with you. All right, on a real quick final note here, you recently called for Congress to reauthorize the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. You put out an op-ed, in fact, today in North Carolina. Explain your position on that. What is this act, and how does it help your state? How does it help others?
Again, the act is really the first term of President Trump when he enacted the tax cuts. Everyone felt the economic benefit, rising wages across every spectrum, robust job growth, robust job creation. There was really a vigor in the economy. I believe someone said that the animal spirits were back in the economy pre-COVID. And that bill had a 10-year sunset. And we're hoping to codify that bill on a permanent basis, again, to really invigorate the economy, to invite entrepreneurialism, and to secure, again, a free economy for generations to come that will protect America and ensure her long-term prosperity.
Fantastic. Congressman Brad Knott, North Carolina, I want to thank you so much for the great work that you're doing. And as always, thank you for joining us on Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.